What's happening, everybody? Matt from the Mainline channel here, and today we're going to go through the history about the Santa Cruz 5010 and why I think the latest version of it, personally, I think is the best version of the 5010 to ever exist. And I know, hot topic, hot take. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one, and that's okay. I don't care. That bike rips. The Santa Cruz 5010 started off in the lineup as a 130 travel, full 27.5-inch wheel trail bike designed to absolutely rip and be the most playful thing you have ever ridden in your life. And every iteration of it kept that promise. It was a playful, fun, durable bike that definitely punched way above its weight in terms of performance and what it could handle. So when the new version came out, and they slapped a 29-inch front wheel on the front of it, people went bonkers, saying, it's not a 5010. You killed it. It's not going to be as playful. It's not this. It's not that. Well, are they right? Kind of. I will say kind of. I'm not going to say they are, but they're kind of right. So I built this up about 8 months ago. I found a deal. I always wanted a 5010. I got the frame for super cheap. I had a bunch of parts, and I put it together. It's a bit of a hodgepodge. This bike is set up with a mix of XT and SLX components. I've got XT wheels. I'm not running the XT rear wheel right now. Long story. Helm fork, super deluxe shock, TRP brakes, number of good parts. And it's everything that I remember about the old 5010. It's super playful. It's super fun. You can jib on it. You can do all these things. But it's also everything the old 5010 wasn't. When I remember riding the Gen 2 in this lineup, it was much, much, much better than the previous version. Head angles were better, seat angle was steeper, wheelbase was a little bit better. Like everything about the Geo just felt like it was turned up and just perfect. Then Gen 3 came out, which was a completely different version of this bike. They had the lower link driven system. The whole frame looked different. It looked like the Bronson, which everybody loved. And it was, because the Bronson was full 27.5, lower link driven, and the 5010 was its baby brother, which was perfect. The Bronson was too big. You wanted something lighter?
Get the baby brother. Baby brother rips.
Might be better than the big brother. And then when they went to this, the chemistry changed. The Geo changed a little bit more. They started offering larger sizes. And the biggest thing is that 29-inch front wheel. So we're going to break this into likes and dislikes about this bike. So number one, likes. It's fast. Like crazy fast. I mean, get you in trouble if you're not paying attention fast. Tweaking that geometry, adding that bigger front wheel allowed this bike to become something it could have never been in its previous generation, which is a true jack of all trades trail bike. Here in Charlotte, we have a ton of different trails, from techie cross country to flowy cross country to jumps and techie little downhill sections and big jumps and small jumps and everything in between. The old 5010 would have got caught up in a lot of the stuff that we have here because it's very rooty, rocky, whatever. Small wheels just aren't conducive to that. They'll do it, just not as well as a 29er. With the mullet setup, that bigger front wheel allows you to push through that stuff and kind of just hop over it, you know, because it's got that smaller angle of attack. You hit a root, you can still pop off of it, but now you can nose over that root, nose over that rock, put the back wheel right where you want it, and continue on your way like nothing happened. So this platform, I think, actually made it a better, well-rounded machine for the trail rider or the jibby rider that wanted something that could play a little bit more dual role. So speed is my number one thing I love about this bike. Number two, geometry. This bike feels perfect, in my opinion. The head angle is just slack enough without being overly slack. Seat tube angle's nice and steep. Wheelbase, I feel, is right, pretty much exactly where I would want it. It's got a low standover. Bottom bracket height is kind of in a perfect little zone. It feels dialed. This is one of those bikes that once you get on it, ride it a couple times and get a feel for it, you can go out and send the black lines with all the guys on their 170 travel propanes and stuff, or you can go and crush cross country laps with your other buddies that wear spandex and crush goos. Like, it doesn't matter. The bike can do both very well. The downside of that geometry is also kind of the downside to that bigger front wheel. It can get you into trouble. Once you're on this bike and you're confident with it, you can push it way further than you should be able to. And it has actually gotten me into a couple of situations where I was like, holy crap, I got to back off or I'm going to die. But I think that is part of that 50-10 nature, is it always feels down to do the big stuff, even though it can't or it shouldn't. It allows you to push yourself as a rider and make use of everything on the trail. Even though it's got that big front wheel, it's still playful. It's still easy to throw around. The geometry just feels right. So big win to Santa Cruz on tip number 2 here, or on point number 2 here, geometry. It's perfect. All right, number 3, sizing. Previously, Santa Cruz had really tiny bikes. Small reach numbers. They're very compact, and for a guy like me that's 6.5 feet tall, that was not good whatsoever. So when they did this bike, they added a 2XL to the range, and I think it's got a 527 reach. My other bike, which is a Noli, has a 534 reach. This bike actually fits, and I was finally able to ride the 5010 the way I wanted to, in a size that was appropriate to me. But if you go through the size chart all the way down, you'll see that it's a lot more appropriate for someone that's not 6'6", or someone that's even down to like 5'2". You can put a person on this bike, get them fitted up properly, and it's going to feel like an extension of them rather than them sitting on top of a hunk of plastic trying to figure it out. Sizing is really good on this bike, and I think that's a huge, huge, huge win for Santa Cruz on this. Good job, guys. Thank you for not hating tall people. Number 4. This one, I kind of debated where to put it in the list. Number 4, I would say, is kinematics. The bike has so much pop, so much playfulness in it that it's kind of scary. Jumps that I can blast on my big 170 bike, I can go bigger on this thing, to be honest. Because when you're coming up to a jump, it's got so much ramp up, it's got so much bottom out resistance. It's like a dirt jumper, honestly. It just wants to springboard off of everything, which is the way I like to ride. I may be big, but I also can go very high. I can go even higher on that thing because it's like hitting a diving board. It's amazing. Santa Cruz really, really knocked it out of the park with that one, because now everything is a jump. Even this pile of dirt over here that's not packed in could be a jump because of how poppy and playful this bike really is. Pair that with the dialed geometry, this thing's every bit as playful and easy to throw around as previous generations, in my opinion. It could be that I'm just bigger than everybody and I can do that, but it doesn't feel that far off from previous generations. In fact, the rear end of this thing, the way it pops off of a lip, it feels better than all the previous generations I rode. So that's a big win right there. Number 5, the carbon. Santa Cruz is known for crazy high quality frames. They are. This is a CC level bike, and I told myself many years ago, I'm never going to be that guy that owns a CC bike because of all these reasons. It's like, oh, they drive BMWs, they only ride POC helmets, and they're too cool, and they've got the pants and the shirts. I'm not that dude. I'm sitting here in a t-shirt, blue jeans, and I don't even know what helmet I have on my head right now. I'm not that guy. But when a deal comes along, you spring for it. The CC carbon frame feels dialed. It feels solid. The last couple carbon bikes I've had, I feel that manufacturing has gotten a little iffy. Santa Cruz still feels like Santa Cruz. Feels strong, feels tough. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart underneath you, and I love that. I think that's fantastic. And it gives me the confidence at 255, 260 pounds to push the bike as hard as I want and not have any repercussions later. Now, I might eat my words at some point, but that's how it feels. It doesn't feel fragile. It doesn't feel like it's coming apart at the seams. It feels ridiculously solid. And I think that's a big win for this bike. So let's go through this list. 5 things that I either don't like or are slight disappointments. Number 1, the carbon layup. Well, everything about that carbon layup on that bike is phenomenal. It still has one of the things that I think is kind of a downside to a lot of carbon bikes nowadays. You grab the bar, you wiggle it, the back end of that thing wags like a nervous dog. It just is all over the place. Now, I know that a lot of companies are doing this for more compliance, more traction, better cornering, it just tracks better through stuff. I understand that. But on a bike like this, I feel that it should be a little stiffer and it shouldn't have that waggle to it. It's one of those things like you don't notice it when you're riding, but when you get off your bike and you throw it down and you see the back wheel do this, it's like, okay, well, that sucks. So it annoys me, but it's not really a downside. The bike ride's really good because of that compliance, and it's just one of those things that I find I would rather see less of that, but that's just a personal preference. Number 2, sizing. I know. Being 6.5 feet tall, the bike still feels really small, even in the 2X size. So taller bars, slightly longer stem, did a few things fit wise, moved my seat back a little bit. I'm where I want to be. I'm comfortable on the bike. It feels good. But it would have been nice to see just a slightly longer top tube reach number on there than it currently has. Um, I'm built like a gorilla. I'm 6.5 feet tall. I've got a 6'7" wingspan. I've got like a 35.5 inch inseam. I'm a big dude. So when I hop on a 2XL bike and it still feels small and compact and, almost a little too small, that's a little disappointing. I would have liked to see that number bump up just a little bit, but still maintain that low standover height, which it has. So that's my number 2. Number 3, and this one might also be contradicting the things on the positive list. It's the 29-inch front wheel. And it's not even the 29-inch front wheel. It's adjustability. A lot of bikes nowadays are going to this multiple wheel size travel option thing. And I feel that Santa Cruz used to be a leader in adjustability and customization. And now I kind of feel like they're not. As good as that bike is in the mullet configuration, I do wish at some point I could slap on a 27.5 front wheel with some kind of adjustment and still maintain the same geo. I do. I really do. I miss full 27.5 bikes. They spin better, they manual better. There's a number of things that they do better, but I don't want that to detract from how good this bike is. So adjustment of geometry, allowing for different wheel sizes, allowing a rider to customize that bike to the way they want to ride, when they want to ride it that way, is how the industry's going. And it would have been nice to see that on this generation. But come on, Santa Cruz. You're falling behind a little bit. Number 4, price. I bought this bike on a crazy deal. I got the frame for like $1,800 off Jensen. And it hurts me to say that I bought a frame off Jensen because I run bike shops. I couldn't even get that deal as an industry guy, which irks me a bit. Santa Cruz is not cheap. And recently I was comparing prices for a customer, looking at stuff, he's between that and a Yeti and stuff. And Santa Cruz was $500 more expensive than a comparable Yeti. And the Yeti even had nicer parts on it. Santa Cruz is insanely proud of their products. They're great. They're durable. They'll last forever. They got great warranty. But guys, the price is just a little too high for what it is. So if you're looking at Santa Cruz's, and this hurts me to say as a bike shop manager, wait till they go on sale. If you absolutely have to have it now, buy it. It doesn't matter. Price really doesn't matter because you're going to own it for years. But if you're a deal hunter, wait till there's a new model out and just buy the previous year. They all ride good. They're good bikes, but they are crazy overpriced. And then last thing about the bike that I don't like, so that's number 5. It kind of feels like the end of an era. Santa Cruz may or may not be continuing with this model going into the 2026 model year. And the 5010 has been around for an insanely long time. And now this is the last time we'll get to see the 5010 in the lineup. But it is really, really sad to see such a killer bike just disappear and nobody be able to really ride this thing anymore. So that's my number 5. So it kind of sucks. Santa Cruz still makes great bikes, but it's kind of the end, I would say, of the super fun, playful trail bike. So now that we've made it through the list, why is this thing my favorite bike? I have taken this thing to a few different places now. Here at Airline, I've been out to a couple of bike parks with it. I've been able to ride some kind of backcountry stuff. Again, when we're going back to that positive list, it's the geometry, it's the kinematics, it's the way everything kind of comes together on this. And I know a lot of the diehards are watching this going, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. But I can say with absolute certainty, the 130, 140 travel, mixed wheels, that new geometry, that new kinematics, there's something incredibly special about this bike that you can go out and rip a 30-foot double and then go to a flow trail, ride a flow trail, go ride some cross country on it, go to a pump track, hit some dirt jumps. It's just the only bike that I've ever really ridden other than the Score 4060 that feels just at home doing whatever. It doesn't matter what you put in front of the bike. It's just happy to do it. And it's like, you know what? We're going to have fun today. I've got your back. We're going to learn something new. We're going to hit that double that you haven't hit before. We're going to rip some berms. We're going to do all these things. It just feels like a familiar friend. And I really love that about this bike. It's easier to ride than the previous generations were, but not to the point that it's boring. Now I look in my garage and I have that. I've got my Noli. I've got a couple other ones. And I reach for this one more and more. 5010. Probably, in my opinion, one of the greatest bikes to ever exist. And we salute it for its service. And we're sad to see it go in 2026. So, anyway, that's my ramble on this bike. I love it. It's fantastic. If you see one, buy it. Add it to your stable of bikes. You won't regret it at all, unless you pay full price for it. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for listening to me ramble and possibly make a fool of myself on here. I'm sure a lot of you are going to say you're an idiot and you don't know what you're talking about. But that is, I'm going to say it, the best bike I've ever ridden. So go buy one and hold on to it because they're special. And yeah, thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.